I did not know, and thanks for pointing this out. I didn't know that Microsoft had actually reached out to KDE in their development of Win 7. Uh, Surprises me a little bit, but kind of glad to see it because honestly, when I first saw Windows 7 public beta and I saw the behavior of the start menu, start button, first thing I noticed was, wow, this looks a whole lot like the kickoff menu in KDE 4. Uh, and at that time, I assumed this was another case of Microsoft seeing a good idea that was out there and then putting their own spin on it and incorporating it into their OS. The fact that they're working with an open source development team and that an open source development team would work with Microsoft, I think is a good thing. I think it's good for the viability of open source software and open source community, and I think it makes sense for Microsoft to do it as well because there's just too many good ideas out there in the open source to be ignored, and and for the continued development and modernization of even a proprietary OS, it makes sense for them to reach out to the open source community and use those ideas and even give and yes to give back. That's sort of the share and share alike is kind of the whole philosophy behind that. And actually, Microsoft has done that. They have started an open sort of an open source initiative. Now, a lot of people out there, there are critics out there that sort of reacted with fear and loathing to that, and they just saw it as Microsoft going back to their extend, embrace, or embrace, extend, extinguish tactics. I don't think so. I don't think it'll work. It's one thing when Microsoft does that against another company, another entity, but they can't do that against the entire open source community, and it will backfire on them miserably if that's what they're trying to do. Uh, because I think the 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 so-called community is big enough and diverse enough that if Microsoft isn't playing well, they can walk away. And there's really nobody there for Microsoft to quote unquote crush. There's really not, and I don't think it would be in Microsoft's best interest to do so. I think it's in their long-term best interest to extend that olive branch and to work with open source developers. And I think that's kind of the sort of the modern way of doing things. You know, Microsoft isn't the first company to do this. OS 10 would not exist without uh, some of the open source components like the mock kernel and the Darwin uh, the Darwin actually I guess it's the Darwin kernel, excuse me, but it's derived from BSD, open source Unix derivative. So, and Apple's made it work. No reason why Microsoft can't do it either. Well, my 2 cents worth. Thanks for watching.